speak word. I speak my truth. See, I have traveled 1,000 paragraphs, got lost in the epic similes, found myself in a village where women spoke word. Had truth the raising agent in her bread, so I decided to stay. Realizing my exodus was not in vain. In this village, woman wears jewels on the soles of her feet. She glistens the earth with valiant hope for the womankind. And with her words, she protects those who carry the wounds of their forefathers on their backs. She protects her unborn seed from ever rejecting himself by wrapping African proverbs around her belly. But sometimes he kicks too hard. He kicks too hard, angry at the men who held his mother hostage, binding her to stereotypes, shallow prototypes, and other females' crimes. So to calm him down, word grew scales and she sang him a lullaby. See, I have made this village my home. Brought a crown adorned with rubies, engraved with wise words from men and women from ancient of days. Gave it to the girl child so she too can hold her head up high. I live in a heart where my poetic license hangs on the wall. A heart where my spirit dances with metaphors as I become one with the word. I breathe word. Without it, I have suffocating spaces on my page, stained by a red sea of pain, forcing my soul into exile, and to only return when I start writing again. Word. This next poem is called Crayons. When I told him that sometimes I float on air when no one is watching, he laughed. Said, although I was made light as a feather, humans were fashioned by gravity and death to always return to the earth. I told him I don't like the earth too much. It never keeps my secrets, leaves a trail of where I've been, which at other times is a map of where I should be. But it's never vivid enough for me to capture it, so my spirit remains restless. See, I spend too much time staring at the sky, still in bed songs that I keep in the little cage between my spirit and my heart. Listen, my heartbeat sings. It is the silence that lingers each time I have an edge to take to the air. And I remember him plead for air, for sanity. My poem's not wholesome enough to feed him. I remember how it would burn my eyes each time I tried to look into his heart. There was too much paint there. He couldn't paint anymore. His paint brushes slept till late in the afternoon when the sun had dried up all his inspiration. They say, in order to go to a place of possession, you have to know dispossession. And I lost him all to the sky that still mocked me as I watched him in flight. Yes, I know. I should have given him boomerang wings so he would know how to return sooner, safer. But this is not a sad poem. This is about him, broken as he was, still held my hand delicate as the soft part of the moon. Remember that I could predict his weather, and yes, there was a storm that could have lasted longer, but the sun opened up the skies like the first line of the greatest poem ever written. He came back with a pump full of midnight prayers, told me to stop walking aimlessly into other people's dreams, searching for colors they didn't use anymore. And he gave me major crayons for fingers and said, take these and color your world beautiful. And tonight I extend these crayons to you. Take these crayons and color your world, color your life. Look around, no one dreams in color anymore. Thank you. I know of a woman who smiles at the paths of those who are lost. See, Botswana is a kind of woman who wears her diamonds as dimples, cows as a necklace. So wherever she goes, she always gets, girl, where did you get those from? She walks gracefully, living Setswana folk songs in her footprints, making sure that my generation will always trace them back to her. But some complain of the heat, forgetting that it is this heat that is her spirit, her way of saying to the rest of the world, you cannot deny my existence. Wildlife play at her feet, painting pictures that exude the beauty of life. She is a good mother, always making sure her children are fed. They have been known to get curious at times, go over the neighbor's house and see what they had for lunch, but it is her dinawa, mohodu delele zenwe that brings them back home. They always come back home. See, I once left her too, but only for a little while. Found myself across borders in a foreign land, but my heart and my thoughts still with her. And when I missed her, I would write her letters on Joburg's sky. She told Joburg to look after me, said, "Don't burn too bright," and had my baby's eyes. And I behaved. When I remembered how Mama sold some of her diamonds so I could have a good education. And like a good child, I listened. Listen to Joburg tell me stories about her struggles, show me scars that she bought for her children, told me Mama hid her children under her skirt so they wouldn't get to them. She is a good mother, and this is why every one of us always come back home, come back to truth. We always come back home. Thank you. My late grandfather is the only one in my family who knew that one day I'd become a poet. He witnessed me write my first poem in the sand at 2 years old, recite it back to the earth as if to hold it safe for me, till I was old enough to understand what those words meant, how words meant spirits, hearts, people. My mother said she would look on, wishing I would look up, write them in her eyes. She would hold them safe for me. This is what mothers do, she says. And when I learned how to read, I fell in love with the pictures, not the words, the pictures. I don't recall what my first encounter with words did to me, but I grew up fearing words, loving pictures. Spent too many nights stripping my dreams of words till all that was left were images. Junior school, I painted, I drew, dipped my hands in plaster of Paris sculpting unicorns. And at university, I studied computers. Not for the Jagger, nor the pain, nor the hangover left by the millennium bug, no. Somebody told me that they too speak mnemonics and conceptual models that were promise of images of buffers, registers, bytes, images no poetry can ever illustrate. But even that didn't spare me the torture of other people's words. Yes, I've met words, double-faced words that do nothing all day but lie. You know those words that change color if you put them too long in the sun? I've met words that sweat a lot if you put too many layers of clothes on them. I think they call that petting. And I've met words afraid to go back home, so they felt misunderstood all the time. That it was safer on the streets. There were no rules. It was allowed to be slang, and they were not forced to rhyme with every word that passed by. I've met words that play hide and seek all day, all the time. And the problem with those words is I fell for them. Or rather, I fell for him. He spoke to me in graffiti once. I replied in cryptic, and we haven't stopped talking ever since. Now it has been over a year, going on to 2, and we still speak in symbols and insinuations of other symbols. I don't remember why I left my words back there, but I need them now more than ever. I need to be able to ask him a simple question like, what exactly do you mean? So the other day, I went back to that spot, but discovered that my words have been through too many foster homes, and still they look for me. They heard that I dumped them for the pictures with no forwarding address or an explanation why. So if you ever come across my words, please tell them that I search for them daily. That each new morn I play Scrabble with the clouds in the sky, hoping to come up with something that looks like them. Tell them I've listened to too many songs, wrote too many poems, hoping to call off my search. But more than anything, tell them that I need them for myself. For it was early October when he shot me up into the sky like a bullet. And here I am, still standing next to the sun, saying as many prayers as the sun rays, not to pass time, but to keep my mind. And still, I wonder whether he sent me out here to shine like the sun or to burn Either way, I need to know, so please help me find my words. Thank you. Don't mourn for people who are still alive. Don't make coffins of their memories, yet we do. Every time we say goodbye at airports, our feet heavy like those of hostages not given a chance to return to the hearts of those who loved them. See, somewhere between transit and psychic lens, we forgot that everyone has someone, something they wish they could check in and will never come back. The kind of baggage that must get lost. I don't like the airport much these days. It reminds me that my soul wants to fly, begs me, eyes blooming with promises not to return, but Botswana is my home, and I have never been able to leave anyone or anything I truly loved. Made pinky ring promises never to leave. So I avoid books that speak of places I've been. Places that laid artistic eggs in my gut, now hatching into butterflies. I sleep crouched up, but they still escape into the night. Write me letters on my pillows. Tell me that my land doesn't hold my poems hostage and I should go. Look for my tribe. Lose the stilettos, the pencil skirt, replace them with the brave heart. My poems are my children. But yet to this day, I still don't know how to build a home for them. So I build incense altars, pray they don't grow up unmothered. Never been a mother before. An instinct never taught me how to make them understand that I need to work so they will be fed and not send them out to labor for me. Still, they resort to emotional blackmail, leave tears by my door every time I leave for work, which I pick up like lost pearl earrings left there intentionally to remind me that the world is my oyster and I was meant to fly. That if I choose to stay, I can only stay long enough to realize that the world is my oyster and I was meant to fly. My friend looked at my feet the other day and asked if I'm expecting a visit from the stock. No. My feet swelled up because they are angry at me for telling them the truth that it is dangerous to get attached to land. Hearts break when it's time to leave. My heart will break when it's time to leave. Thank you very much.